This is Ninh Binh. A land of endless mountains, enchanting riverscapes, and time-forgotten temples. And in this video, I'll show you everything you need to know before visiting this amazing place. Approximately 100 kilometers south of Hanoi, nestled amongst the fortress of ancient limestone, resides the mountain province of Ninh Binh. We'll be heading into Hoa Lu City, once the ancient capital of Vietnam. And from there, we'll make our way to the Tam Coc Trang An region, where we'll visit these attractions. Getting there from Hanoi is easy. You can either travel by road, in a shared minivan, or take the Reunification Express railway train. We chose the train. The station's just a few minutes walk from Hanoi Old Quarter, the tourist hotspot of the capital. Tickets can be bought online in advance from the official website, but we had no problem buying them on the day. There are a couple of options: a soft seat for 120,000 dong, or a private sleeper carriage for 200,000 dong. We went for the sleeper carriage. Once the train arrived, we made our way to the carriage. And good news, we had the entire carriage to ourselves. The carriage comes with 4 beds, 2 up, 2 down, a USB charger, nightlight, pillows and blankets. The door closes for privacy, and the train's toilet was better than I expected. With a 2-hour journey ahead of us, we had plenty of time to crack open a brew, enjoy the scenery, and take a nap. After we arrived at the station, our taxi carried us into the mountains, where we were staying at Lotus Field's Homestay, a countryside resort set in the foot of one of the mountains. We'll tour it properly later, but for now, let's grab a motorcycle from the homestay and set off to see our first attractions. The Trang An Boat Tour, the most iconic experience in Ninh Binh. It's a 3-hour boat journey through the Trang An UNESCO World Heritage Site. A stunning landscape of karst mountains, meandering rivers, and flooded caves. We headed out early to avoid the afternoon sun, and after 20 minutes, arrived just before opening time. With our bike parked for 15,000 dong, we headed to the ticket office. Tickets cost 250,000 dong per person, and it's 4 people per boat. If you want the boat yourself, you'll have to buy the extra tickets. There are 3 routes available, each offering something different. Route 1 is the longest, with 9 caves and 3 temples. Route 2 is a balanced mix of caves and temples, and passes through some of the areas used for filming Kong Skull Island. And Route 3 is quieter and more cultural, with 3 caves and 4 temples. It also takes you through Dot Cave, the longest in the Trang An complex. Let's head through the underpass and follow the signs to the boat dock. After a final ticket check and a dodgy boarding, we were ready to set sail. At the front. Hello. As we left the boat dock behind us, we gently drifted into the mountains. At first the river was wide and open, but soon the cliffs began to close in. All around us, the mountains rose from the waters, like enormous green waves. And the waters below quietly carried us deeper into the valleys. It wasn't long before we entered the first cave. the first of many. It was a little unsettling, knowing that right above your head is the weight of an entire mountain. Some of the caves are extremely confined, not a place for the claustrophobic. Sometimes you'd have to lay flat just to get through. And sometimes you weren't sure if you'd actually get through at all. But one thing was for sure. With each exit, a stunning new landscape unfolded before your eyes. On Route 1, you're treated to this experience 9 times. A humbling feeling, having those towering limestone mountains staring down at you. Along our journey, we stopped at several secluded islands, each home to a unique ancient temple. Some were simple and understated, and others were more ornate, with rich reds and glowing golds. And some were tricky to reach, with steep climbs and treacherous slick steps. Toilets and refreshment facilities are provided on the islands, a welcome break along the way. As we loop back to the boat dock, I'll give some general guidance. The boat tour will take in excess of 3 hours, so bring lots of drink and some snacks. You definitely don't want to be dehydrated out here. If you come during August like we did, temperatures reach about 38 degrees, but with the humidity it feels closer to 50. Sunscreen is a must, and umbrellas are provided in the boat for shade. During the rainy season, river levels are often elevated, and some of the caves may be flooded and inaccessible. This includes the 1 kilometer long dock cave from Route 3. Since some of the mountains are entirely covered in slick moss, I'd really suggest wearing trainers and not flip-flops or sliders. And finally, you should come either first thing in the morning or after 3 p.m. Temperatures are cooler, and most importantly, there are fewer crowds. Indeed, as we made it back to the dock, the crowds had grown and the day was hotter. With the tour complete, we'll be heading south to see our next attraction. The Bich Dong Pagoda, a series of 3 ancient pagodas built into the mountain during the 15th century. Getting there takes you through the town of Tam Kok, a popular place for tourists to stay in Ninh Binh. It's a lively spot, offering cheap hotels and fantastic restaurants, with plenty of options. It centers around the Tam Kok Boat Tour, one of the other boat tours that operates in the area. From town, it's only a couple of minutes' drive away. So here we are. The pagoda sits across the water on the left. There are plenty of convenience stores to resupply, and parking is on the right for 10,000 dong. If you prefer, you can park for free at a convenience store, so long as you buy something. We grabbed a rice hat and headed over to the pagoda. The entrance is free, but women might have to rent appropriate clothing to cover up. Once inside, the atmosphere changes completely. Thick moss blankets the pagoda, and golden light filters through the trees. It feels ancient here. Even the animals look ancient. Let's head up the carved stone steps to the second tier, where another pagoda lies, basking in the afternoon sun. Passing through a narrow gap, you step into the mountain itself, where a staircase leads into a large cavern. It was once used by ancient monks for ceremony and prayer. The cavern opens out to a viewpoint, and another climb takes you to a third and final tier. After soaking in the atmosphere, we made our way down the mountain and returned to our bike. It was time to head back, refresh, and take a closer look at where we're staying. But first, if you're already heading to Ninh Binh, then I've put together a curated Ninh Binh travel guide in the description. It's not free, but I promise the information inside will save you more money than the cost of the guide itself. It's an interactive PDF, so you can easily navigate between pages. It's got convenient links to exact attraction locations, since Google doesn't always work, toilet locations, choosing the right time to travel, the right hotels, cheapest ATMs, best convenience stores and restaurants, as well as a bunch of attractions that tourists usually miss, and advice that will save you a hell of a lot of stress. And if you don't feel like passing with your cash, then I'd recommend watching my Ninh Binh in 5 minutes video. It cuts straight to the point, and you can think of it as a field reference to use before heading anywhere in Ninh Binh. The Lotus Field Homestay. A peaceful resort, boasting splendid views of the surrounding landscape and the lotus fields that give it its name. Sadly, most have bloomed before our stay. The main reception room here is where guests can check in and enjoy breakfast. The rooms are set away from the main reception area, each with a sweeping view of the landscape in front and the protection of a giant rock wall behind. We stayed at room 2, which cost us around 700,000 dong. The room felt cozy, with lots of natural materials, 2 enormous king-size beds, high-quality aircon, a minibar, and a bathroom with jacuzzi, overlooking the lotus fields. Ours came with an additional free guest. Here, we were completely immersed in nature, with no distractions. Hello. We rested the night before heading to our next destination, and needless to say, I had the best night's sleep in years. Hang Mua, a 500-step climb with panoramic views across Ninh Binh jagged limestone peaks. We set out early, and after 10 minutes, arrived at the gates of Hang Mua.
Okay.
Parking was available on the right, 10,000 dong again. And once we purchased tickets, we made our way towards the mountain. You're first greeted by a Vietnamese-style garden, hanging lanterns, arched bridges, and koi ponds, with blooming lotus fields stretching out beyond. If you need to use a toilet, do it now. There aren't any on the mountain. So here we are, at the base of the mountain. A quick moment of mental preparation, and off we set. 500 steps, in the brutal tropical heat of Vietnam. Overhead, zip lines delivered refreshments to thirsty climbers, sold at a small shop halfway up. You'll eventually come to a point where the path splits, and despite the sign, it's the pathway on the left that goes to the dragon statue, while the path on the right goes to a different viewpoint. We decided to do both, bringing our total climb to over 750 steps. Going up the right-hand path offers clear views of the Tam Kok Valley, Hualu City, and endless mountains. And down below, you can see the lotus fields, shaped in the form of a lotus. Retracing our footsteps up to the left path brings us to the famous dragon statue. Access to the dragon statue is slightly dangerous. A mix of smooth and jagged rocks, and a sheer drop to your right. And when you're finally there, room is a little tight. A selfie stick, drone, or a confident climber standing on a nearby rock is the only way you'll get a decent shot. With jelly legs, we headed back down the mountain. We checked out Tiger Cave at the base of the mountain, but it was flooded, leaving us guessing where it went. There's also the main Hang Mua Cave, which gives this attraction its name, though it's more of a grotto than a traditional cave, and it doesn't really go anywhere. But there's a seating area on the other side. We decided to head back to the cafe though, for a well-earned break. We jumped back on the bike, ready for the final stop, and my personal favourite. The Bai Dinh Pagoda. A 700-hectare religious complex of temples, pagodas and courtyards on a truly monumental scale. It's a 40-minute ride from Tam Kok, but if you're not comfortable riding on main roads, it's best to get a grab. Once we arrived, we parked our bike for 15,000 dong and headed to the ticket office. The ticket fare is a little confusing. The basic fare is 100,000 dong and includes a return shuttle ride to the pagoda. For an extra 50,000 dong, you get access to the super tower, but you can purchase this inside later. There's also a 300,000 dong option, a shuttle bus circuit that takes you to all the key sites, ideal if you don't fancy walking in the heat. We went with option 1, onwards to the shuttle bus. The journey takes about 15 minutes, but hang on tight, it's a bit of a brisk ride, and make sure to keep your tickets, as you'll need them for the return journey. Once you enter through the gate, the atmosphere transforms. 2 endless corridors flank either side of the complex, with hundreds of hand-carved Buddhas. They reach all the way to the top, where the ancient pagoda is. It's incredibly peaceful here, and there's hardly a soul around. The perfect place to gently stroll, be with your thoughts, and explore all 700 hectares. And if you're handy with a camera, there's plenty of great photos to snap. Let's head on up through the courtyards and check out the rest. The first of several temples. Inside it glows with reds and golds. The craftsmanship across this place is incredible. It's hard to find a surface that hasn't been embellished by hand. As we climbed higher, we were gifted with bigger and even more magnificent temples. And the best gift of all, a big, beautiful fan. One of the main attractions of this place is to visit the 100-meter tall stupa, the tallest in Asia, apparently. If you hadn't already bought tickets, a ticket office is right next door and can be purchased for 50,000 dong each. When inside, shoe protection must be worn. And then it's time to start the arduous climb. Just kidding. It's just one flight, then an elevator handles the rest. The top floor is stunning. And panoramic views of Ninh Binh are just through this door. The site looks kinda small from up here. And that mountain on the right is where all the ancient sites are. The sun was setting on Bai Dinh, and we hadn't left ourselves enough time to explore it properly. As we rush around the rest of the place, I'll give you some advice. This place is way bigger than you think, and 3 hours just aren't enough. If you do go later in the day, I'd advise starting at the top, where the ancient pagoda is. Lighting is minimal there, so when it's dark, you won't see a thing, like us. Conversely, the modern constructions are well lit and can be explored, even in the dark. Besides, once you're at the top, it's all downhill from there, and will feel much more relaxing. There's also plenty of places to grab refreshments, and free tea and candy is offered at this place. There's even a hotel and restaurant at the top of the complex, though Google shows mixed reviews for the restaurant. And finally, this place is magnificent and humbling, and I really recommend it. My final tip is to just get on the back of a bike, explore, and have fun. That's the end of the video. If you are going to Ninh Binh, then please check out my other video linked in the description, as well as the guide. And finally, thanks for watching.